STC. I have boys. I have boys too. My children. When I see you there, being so angry and still, I guess, reliving that pain that you had when you were a victim of an adult. It hurts me. Please don't make innocent people victims too. Just don't do it.
The first thing you did in this world was cry. What does it say about the human condition that when you enter this world crying, the doctor's like, the baby's emotionally devastated to be here. Check. Humans are the only animals that produce tears due to emotion. Elephants, for example, produce tears, but mostly due to irritation. In fact, the Lobocraspis grisefusamoth will irritate an elephant's eye so it produces tears that it can drink. Imagine asking a kid what their favorite animal was and they were like, oh, you know, the moth that irritates elephants' eyes in order to drink their tears. I'd be like, okay, this kid, he's got issues. You, on the other hand, can produce tears from loss, joy, self-pity, laughter, and 'tis wild, but the chemical makeup of your tears changes based on your emotions. So why are human tears so unique? Tears of endogenous depression are different than tears from acute grief. If you remove the tears from crying people's faces, it's hard for you to tell if they're crying from sadness or laughing from pure joy. Due to recent scientific insight, we know a lot more about why we emotionally cry. Back in 17th century America, for example, it was thought that a marriage was doomed if the bride did not profusely weep at the wedding. This was to prove the bride wasn't a witch, as witches were known to cry only 3 tears from the left eye. Therefore, obviously, if the bride was crying from both eyes, it meant that the bride was not working with Satan. Think of all the groomzillas who were like,
she's ruining my perfect day, she's not crying from both eyes, thine is a witch.
To know why you as a human cry, you have to think back millions of years to when your ancestors evolved out of the water. Yep, your great times a million grandparent looked like some sort of insecty shell, amphibian, arthropod, millipede sort of thing maybe. And by leaving the water to live on land, all these land-dwelling animals from then on needed a lacrimal apparatus to produce tears that kept the eyes wet while on land. But you, my friend, are special because you have 3 types of tears. The first is basal tears, which is made up of 3 layers. A mucus layer that touches the eyeball, an aqueous layer which moisturizes and protects against invasive bacteria, and the final oily layer that stops the other layers from evaporating and keeps the surface of the eyes smooth so your vision is clear. The second is reflex tears, which is unique to all land-dwelling animals. In fact, all animals, except for snakes and amphibians, have a peripheral sensory system that consists of nerve endings in the eye that when stimulated by mechanical, thermal, chemical, or pain stimulus, release tears. It should be known that you don't have a storage of tears in your eye ready to come out when you cry. The tears are created due to a sensory in your body that triggers the response. Humans, that means me, that means you, are special. We are the only animals with emotional tears, also known as psychogenic tears, which are controlled by the prefrontal cortex and the anterior portion of the limbic lobe of the brain. Some scientists think that we cry because as a child, crying was the only way that we were able to get a response from our parents. When the baby is 24 months old, concurrent with rapid development of spoken language, crying seems to fall off. Because of this research, some scientists posit that we cry when we don't have the words to explain how we're feeling, which I can relate to. I feel like when I cry, it's usually in moments where I don't have the words to express what I'm feeling. Much like when I was a kid crying for my mom's attention when I couldn't speak English. It feels like now when I cry, it's when emotions are so big, I don't really know how to explain them, whether they're happy or sad. And crying, it's show-stopping. If you cry at a party, people are gonna pay attention to you. But it turns out that the chemical makeup makeup of tears from emotion are different than the tears from irritation. A study found that the protein concentration of emotional tears was 24% greater than that of an irritant, and the higher protein tears fall more slowly on the face. Some scientists think that emotional tears evolved to have more proteins in them, causing them to fall slower and give more time for our fellow humans to react to the response and give us an emotional boost. In fact, using eye tracking, a new study found that humans focus way more on faces with tears and are more aroused by them. The visual image of a tear falling down a cheek sets off a response in us to help and be interested. This all leads to the predictions that human emotional crying is a way to get other people to look at you. The higher protein concentration of emotional tears makes them fall more slowly, so people will pay attention and look after you. We have made incredible scientific progress, but it's really hard to study emotional crying. Because think back to the last time you cried, it truly does feel like every cry is unique. And every cry is different because it involves complex biochemistry, endocrinology, social context, cognition, all slamming together to create this moment that you either embrace or you push away. I think crying emotionally is fascinating because it really shows how complicated we are. We can't figure out why we do this, but it's one of our most visceral experiences. For me, personally, when I'm crying emotionally, sometimes it's when I feel the most alive. And the fact that we are the only animals on the planet that do this is fascinating to me. It's a true testament to how smart and brilliant and sentient we are as beings, and we actually might be the only animals in the universe that do this.
What does the expression crocodile tears mean? And do crocodiles really cry? Crocodile tears means insincere tears, hypocritical and feigned regret, false compassion. The expression crocodile tears is used by those people who pretend to be excessively upset by the unpleasantness or misfortune of someone to whom they themselves have made them. But in reality, these people do not feel negative emotions, but only pretend and even rejoice in the misfortunes of those to whom they have made them. It is said of such a person that he sheds crocodile tears. Why do crocodiles cry? Since ancient times, there has been a legend that a crocodile cries over its prey during a meal. But after all, the crocodile is a bloodthirsty and fearsome predator. Crocodile tears are hardly a manifestation of worry or remorse about the killed victim. Indeed, the tears of a crocodile have nothing to do with compassion or regret. This is how the international phraseology crocodile tears came about. So why do crocodiles cry? All these beliefs from ancient times about crocodile tears prompted scientists to find out this controversial question. Researchers have made many observations of these predators, and it turns out that crocodiles do cry, but not at all from pity. In fact, everything is very simple, and crocodile tears are just a way of removing salts from the body. This is because crocodiles suffer from an excess of salt in their bodies. And in order to reduce their level, crocodiles have special glands that are located in the eye area. All reptiles of the genus true crocodiles have such special glands. For example, the Nile crocodile. When the crocodile accumulates too many salts, the glands begin to work actively and cause tears. Thus, the crocodile cries only when it needs to remove salts from its body. Together with the tears, the crocodile also goes out unnecessary harmful substances. This is an unusual feature of these predators, which has nothing to do with crocodiles' sense of compassion for their victims.
Tears are necessary to keep our eyes moist and healthy. The lacrimal gland and other small glands inside the eyelid and on the white part of the eye constantly produce tears to keep the eye healthy. Tears drain from the eye through two small openings called upper and lower puncta, located at the inside corner of the upper and lower eyelids near the nose. Tears move through a passage called the canaliculus and into the lacrimal sac. They then drop into a tear duct called the nasolacrimal duct and drain into the back of the nose and throat. That's why your nose runs when you cry.
STC. I have boys. I have boys too. My children. When I see you there, being so angry, and still, I guess, reliving that pain that you had when you were a victim of an adult. It hurts me. Please, don't make innocent people victims too. Just don't do it.